Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the PDPreps podcast, episode 32. Keenan O'Doherty here with Jordan Latimore. Gus Morris feeling a bit under the weather today, so he is not going to be joining us. He's missing out, Jordan, man. He's always missing out like this. Missing out.
He's dodging the heat, man.
He's dodging the heat again. It is December 13th, just around noon on a Wednesday. Um, so again, appreciate you guys for listening, tuning back in with us. A little bit shorter pod this week. Obviously, we're gonna recap the crazy state title game that St. Vincent football was in over in Pasadena over the weekend. We're gonna do some postseason football recap here, and then we're going to get into the winter sports roundup for last weekend, specifically hoops, some soccer, maybe some wrestling. We'll get into all that as well. Keep in mind, with Gus not being here, we didn't want to leave him out too much, so we're going to be doing our final football rankings and our first basketball rankings in next week's podcast when he is back, and all three of us get to chime in on all that stuff. So stay tuned for all that. No rankings today, but still got some football to talk about. So let's get right into it, man. I was in Pasadena this weekend, and St. Vincent, Jordan, man, they did it.
They did it. How about the Mustangs, man?
How about the Mustangs? State champions. Man, state champions. Division 6 AA champions to be exact. They beat Wasco 27-6, becoming the first Sonoma County team in high school football, that is, to win a state title since Cardinal Newman did in 2019. And they are the first team from Petaluma to ever win a state football title. So they man, Jordan, I know you were high believers in the Mustangs throughout this whole playoffs, but they did it, brother. They did it. Gus, I know he took the heat last week, but he picked right this week. But yeah, St. Vincent, man, they did it. I'll get to the recap in a sec here, but man, Sonoma County. I mean, our coverage area has a state football champion, Jordan. That I mean, it feels pretty darn good, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and it should, and it's well deserved for a program that has been building to become, what we just saw on display last weekend. And when I was there last week, just kind of at the scene of the departure party, kind of.
Oh, that's right, you were there. Yeah.
As the team kind of departed over, to Pasadena. When I first got there, and you're kind of around all the parents and all the students. It's like, cool, happy vibes, celebratory. When you went and talked around the players who were doing their little walkthrough before they went on the bus, they were locked in, laser focused. They weren't smiling. They weren't joking around. They were packing their bags after their walkthrough and walking a straight line to the bus because they were ready to handle some business. And that's exactly what they did last weekend, man. So props to them, props to their coaching staff, props to the program. And it's just, one great win for such a great area. You know what I mean?
Yeah, keep in mind a school of 160 kids, right, on their way to the title, beat a school of 2,000. The team they just beat, Wasco, has like 1,600 kids. It's almost like David keeps toppling Goliath, man. But like you said, obviously you were at the send off there, and how locked in they were, and when they came down to me. And when they got off the bus, for that first team dinner, they were happy to get off the bus, but you could tell there was like a little there. It was a different demeanor than usual, and even for the night before the big game, it was completely locked in. And we were able to get all access to whatever they were doing, and we were able to go to their walkthroughs the next day at a prep school out in Pasadena. And they were, it was all business. It was all business. And then, you get to the stadium, get to Pasadena City College, which is a beautiful little stadium, by the way, for City College. And you go in the locker room, we were talking about like last week or 2 weeks ago in Palo Alto, how they got a FaceTime from Meek Mill. They tapped into Meek Mill again. They were blasting it on that little boombox in the locker room. They were getting ready to go. They had the clean, all-white jerseys with the white helmets.
Man.
Icy.
That's what it's all about, man.
No, absolutely, and they were locked in 100%, like you said, and they brought home the state title. But yeah, let's get right into it here. But and then we can talk about a little more, obviously. So
Yeah.
27-6 was the final score, but it took St. Vincent a minute to really get into the game. Wasco running
Mm,
that double wing, the wing T. Run heavy team. I'm pretty sure they only up to that game they've only passed it like 18 times through the entire year. Only had one passing touchdown the entire year. They are a run heavy team, physical, like to pound the rock. Um, but St. Vincent came out. Wasco got the ball first. That's what they wanted to do because we knew Wasco was gonna, try to control the clock, limit those St. Vincent possessions, really, really make sure that they control this game. But
mm.
St. Vincent's defense immediately came out, forces a 3-and-out. Mustang's offense comes right back and strikes first. Gabe Casanovas to Jack Davis for a 9-yard score. Wasco, however, immediately answers. Their run game finally gets going. They immediately answer on a couple huge runs. The PAT is blocked, so we're looking at 7-6 after the first quarter. And from that Wasco score, both offenses kind of sputter a little bit. Offenses, aren't playing too well. The defenses are playing great. So at half, Jordan, the score is 7-6. Um,
Woo!
not not an ideal score, especially if you're St. Vincent, where Wasco is known for thriving in these close games. Wasco probably going ahead in the locker room, loving that this game is a 1-point game. But St. Vincent gets the ball, start of the second half, and what do? They make the adjustments. They come out 10-play, 80-yard drive that ends in a 21-yard touchdown pass from Casanovas to Mason Catarelli. And Jordan, cool thing about that drive is they used Wasco's strength against him. They had 8 run plays in that drive and only 2 passing plays. And obviously the second passing play was that touchdown
Down
pass.
that
So
rock. On that rock.
yep, exactly. So Casanovas to Catarelli, and then huge possession huge possession for Wasco on the next possession here. Mustang defense, it's 4th and 1 in Mustang territory. Wasco is known for going for it on fourth down a lot of the time. St. Vincent's defense steps up and stuffs them. Boom, 4th and 1, and all of a sudden it seems like that took the wind out of Wasco's sails. At the end of quarter 3, it's now 13-6. Um, but that possession I think really was the turning point of the game where St. Vincent really shored up and was like, look, we're a lot better than this team. We were just playing down to their level in the first half or whatever it is. So end of quarter 3, 13-6, and from then on, it's all St. Vincent. Jack Davis with a rushing touchdown, right? And then Casanovas, the sophomore quarterback, who's honestly been, I believe, one of the better quarterbacks in the area this year,
Facts.
uses his legs to ice it and make it 27-6. And man, they were going for that little like the Gatorade bath on the head
Ice,
coach, but
ice bath.
I guess in the state title game it's illegal. You're not allowed to do it. So they
Oh,
got
come on,
all these
Kyle.
little
What
so
are we doing?
so they got all these little Gatorade bottles and started spraying it all over head coach Trent Herzog, because that's the best they could do. But
Gotta
St.
get that rule
Vincent
changed. Okay.
comes in Pasadena City College, ends up taking over in the second half. 27-6 your final score. St. Vincent Division 6 AA state champions. A couple guys to shout out here. Casanovas, 5 of 9 through the air for 66 yards and 2 touchdowns. Passing, 7 rushes, 59 yards, 1 touchdown. Mason Catarelli, huge game from him. He's been on fire ever since he's transferred over from Cloverdale and ever since he's come back from that 4-game sit-out period. 19 carries, 113 yards rushing. One reception for 21 yards and that 1 TD. Jack Davis, he only had 1 reception too, but it was also a touchdown for 9 yards. 7 rushes, 55 yards, 1 TD. And the Mustang defense, man, they've been absolutely on fire throughout
Lights
these
out.
playoffs, no doubt. 6 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. Nico Antonini led the way on the tackle side with 10 total tackles. Um, I mean, I mean I don't know what to say. I'm kind of speechless because it was just such an experience being down there, and they get it done, man.
100%. I mean, first of all, I mean, we got to talk about head coach Trent Herzog for, I mean, the courage it takes in that second half adjustment period to be like, look, we got to kind of change our identity on the fly against a team that, you know, is trying to beat us at their own strength. We have to beat them at their own strength. For him to make that adjustment, I think is huge. Yeah. I mean, 228 rushing yards with a quarterback that's as good as Casanova's takes a lot of courage to do. You know what I mean? So, I mean, a lot of credit to him for making that adjustment at the highest possible stage. You could make a huge adjustment like
no
that.
kidding.
You know what I mean? So, a lot of credit to him. But yeah, I just think, I mean, this program to get a win like this in this kind of fashion, I think speaks volumes to where this how much this program has progressed over the past few years, and where they're going. Because I don't think this is the end. I don't think this is the end of anything for St. Vincent. I think this is honestly just the beginning. And you know, all credit to them. All credit to them, and they deserve all the celebration that comes with a huge win like this for all 200 of those students.
Yeah, exactly. And keep in mind, you know, we've been saying this for the past couple weeks, but this is the kind of culmination of a 3-year stretch for the Mustangs where they've been at the top of the heap, and now they win a state champ. You know, they make the North Cal title game 2 years ago, end up losing that in Division 7, or no, it was also in Division 6A. Excuse me, but for the past couple of years they've been playing in Division 7 for the NCS. Then they lost last year Division 7 NCS section title game against Clear Lake. I was there. It was 56-55, a crazy game. And now this year they move up a division for the North Coast section, Division 6, roll through that. Obviously didn't win the league title, but roll through their section playoffs and win the Division 6, back in Division 6 AA again for the second time in the span of 3 years. Win the NorCal title game, get over that hump, and now for their first time at a state title game, you know, like you said, to show that composure, to make those adjustments, to, you know, treat it as another just normal football game, you know, making those adjustments and boom, they got it.
Because I mean, from their point of view, they could have been like, look, we're not going to change. I mean, we've done all that. The way we play is the way I mean, even before, I remember talking to Coach Trent, you know, before they got on the bus, he was telling me like, we're going to play our game. We're going to play our game, play to our strengths. And I mean, if you watch the game, they had to not do that in the second half. They had to change their game in the second half, and that takes a lot of courage and a lot of, I think, maturity from a coaching perspective to just realize like this is what we got to do to get over the hump. And again, all credit to them for doing that and making those adjustments.
Yeah, and the celebration won't stop there, folks. They will there's a going to be a parade in the town of Petaluma on Sunday. Starts at 10 a.m. Out Walnut Park, goes down Kentucky Street, downtown Petaluma. Big parade for. Oh yeah, the big parade's coming for St. Vincent on Sunday. No doubt about it. Also, Jordan, I want to say, I think what helped them was the damn bus that they were on, because that luxury bus was nice. they took the trip the entire they heated seats and everything. That had to help, man. That luxury bus that they were on, you saw it too, man. Let me tell you.
It was a shuttle, man. That thing was nice.
It's a shuttle.
Had a nice little 6-hour ride to Pasadena, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but I think, you know, I'm glad you brought that up though, because I think that also kind of speaks volumes again about how focused the kids still remain. I mean, think about the moment they're in and all that stuff going on. They had this crowd of people. They're in their hometown, kind of cheering them on. They're on this nice bus. They're going and playing in this big game. And what do? They keep it business. You know what I mean? And they just stayed locked in. So I think you got to give these kids a ton of credit, because there's so many potential distractions out there and potential for you to kind of lose sight of what's important. But they were in, man, and just all the credit to them, man, for making history like this.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, I mean, they're high school kids. It shows the maturity on the field. You know, it shows the maturity early on, which is good. But like you said, I don't think St. Vincent's going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, this is I honestly, I mean, like 3 years ago was probably the actual beginning, but I mean, this could be another beginning. Gus mentioned
Yes.
the word dynasty the last couple weeks. We still got to figure out what a dynasty actually is, but but it very well could be the start of one. So we'll see,
100%.
man. But St. Vincent, I mean, they did it 27-6, Division 6 AA state champions. I'm sure Gus will probably have his piece next week about what he thinks of it all. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's an end to a pretty incredible high school football season around the area. But before I get to that, let's just run through these final picks here. Jordan, our final
Oh yeah.
numbers.
Oh yeah.
Uh, total playoff records. Gus was 13-8. I was 16-5. Jordan, you were 11-10. We all went 1-0. We all went with the St. Vincent sweep for this championship game. Jordan, huge comeback for you, man. After that playoff week one, just came back and are above 500,
500.
11-10.
Let's
Go
go.
ahead. Go ahead.
Dude, come on, you gotta give me some credit, man. I got
No,
here
I'm
halfway
giving
through
you
the year.
credit.
I know, but like I need the most credit, man. I think my 11-10 is more impressive than your 16-5 and Gus's 13-8. Let's just be real.
Oh boy,
My
here we
start
go.
was horrendous. My start was horrendous. I got here. Look, man, halfway through the year, I'm still figuring out all these teams. Okay, I had again bad start to finish 11-10. I deserve my own parade with St. Vincent, man. Honestly, let's be real. I need my own parade.
He said his own phrase. Well, actually, you know what? I'm gonna take a page out of your book here because I told you after you had that abysmal start, I was like, all right, that's it, man. That's it. Now you got to shore up. So I motivated you. I
You did.
motivated you to
I gotta say,
get it right. To
I
get it
gotta say,
right.
you did more. You
And
did.
and coming through 11-10, Jordan, for your first round of picks. Not too bad. Not too bad.
Not too bad at all, man. I'll take it.
Yeah, so I think because keep in mind in the first round you went 3-7, but then the second round you turned it right back around, you went 5-1. And that's what really turned the key here.
I had to
And
get a
the
round under my belt. I had to, you know,
test the waters a little bit. Test the waters a little bit. Well,
test the waters.
I mean, hey, you were motivating, man. I mean,
I
I don't
was,
know.
I was, and look, look, games like the Annalise Justin Siena game, for example. Look, man,
Yeah,
I take it back. Okay, I didn't know. All right, I was going off my instincts. Okay, but guess what? I got it under my belt. We saw what happened, and I picked right after that. You know what I mean? Just
I
handling
got you.
business. Handling
I got
business,
you.
man.
I got you. Okay, so obviously Gus and I are going to do some math over the weekend for next week's pod, and we'll do a big, huge pick like revelation of who won. I think I won it by a game because we're combining both the regular season and the playoffs here.
Playoff.
Um, but I think I might have got it, but we'll see next week. So like I said in the beginning, no football rankings. We're going to do those next week, and we're also going to do basketball rankings next week as well when Gus is back on the pod. So we all three of us can chime in on that. But let's do a little bit of postseason football recap between me and you, Jordan. We're going to start with you. Obviously, you came in like halfway through the year. Still trying to figure things out. Still trying to figure some teams out. But half the season, it comes in with the state. We have a state champion now. You were here throughout like the entire playoffs. Just kind of what were your kind of takeaways? You're only here for a little bit, but still probably have some takeaways. I would assume from this football season.
100%, man. 100%. I would just say one of my biggest takeaways just from covering Napa area, but more so as playoff kind of stuff kind of happened, and I'm paying attention to more teams that were kind of gearing our coverage toward. Like, I was really impressed with how teams got better later in the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're kind of anticipating, like, man, it's November, it's early December. Like, it's a lot of football games. I mean, you even as a person covering these teams you feel the weight of like, man, this has been a long time. Didn't you say? I remember
Yeah.
before we got on the pod, you're talking about like it's like 14. How many straight weeks of football for you covering the team, like or covering football in the
So
area?
15,
Like,
yeah. St. Vincent played 15. Yeah, St. Vincent played a 15-game schedule this year.
and you felt that, right? You felt
Yeah.
that yourself. Imagine you're a guy strapping up, going to actually go play. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It probably it takes a toll. So I mean, from my perspective, I was kind of anticipating like a little bit of the drop off in the quality of the play, just because these kids are tired. You know what I mean? But
Sure.
as the year went on, they got better. It was the opposite. At least in my area, I can attest for teams like Vintage, for example.
Hmm.
Vintage, they had that really really bad start. But then once I got into B-Val play, they finished 4-2 in league, and they looked like a completely different team by the time they headed into their playoff matchup, right? And it kind of speaks volumes to how the later the year kind of goes on, kids more, they figure it out, and teams kind of wrap up their identity
Yeah.
and kind of find that line that they're going to kind of go for. Teams like American Canyon as well. You know what I mean? They kind of started off pretty well, and then the middle of the season they got kind of rock. Teams like Petaluma of the world, the Casas of the world kind of tested them a little bit,
Yeah.
but they still finished the year pretty strong. So I think that's my biggest takeaway is as the year got longer and it got later in the season, teams didn't fall off. If anything, they got better. And that's a huge positive sign, I think, for this area in terms of its football play, man. So it's a really, really good sign that you to see teams ending it like that. And I think just makes me more excited for next year, if anything.
Yeah, no, absolutely, no doubt. And in your area specifically, I mean, there seems to be a lot to look forward to, especially with, like you said, the American Canyons, the vintages. I know they had a little bit of a young team this year as well.
Yeah.
Definitely some things to look forward to next year from your area. It seems like.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, even it's not in the Napa area, but Sonoma Valley, for example. I mean, you
Hmm.
know, did they have the record that they wanted? No, but like it was. If you ask anyone around that program, this was the right direction. They are heading in the right trajectory, and they were playing some of their best football down in the second half of the season. And again, it goes to my point I'm trying to make. Like these teams are just getting the later the year goes on, the better they get. They don't get
Hmm.
tired. They don't get complacent. They just figure out ways to keep honing in on their identity, and I think that's a huge important kind of attribute to kind of have for your program if you're trying to be successful, especially in this area. So just a really positive and encouraging sign.
Yeah, I would say as a whole, I mean, this was a super positive year for football around both areas,
Yeah,
or around our whole coverage area. Obviously, had some very successful teams. I know some teams obviously fell a little bit short. Like I'm sure Windsor wished they would have gotten past El Cerrito, which they had it.
yeah,
But some teams took some massive strides this year. Like you said, Sonoma Valley, even Healdsburg. After not winning a game last year, they were putting up a lot of points on a lot of teams this year. New head coach Randy Parmeter, he's been doing wonders over there. You said like St. Vincent. We just talked about St. Vincent. Even Ukiah, and their head coach Paul Cronin, NBL Redwood champion for the first time since like 1980 or something. So a lot of teams on the rise, and that was just evident in the amount of teams that went to the playoffs this year as well. From our coverage area,
so
we had a lot of teams.
so many,
Yeah.
bro,
So many,
so many.
so many. Even the St. Helena's and the Justin Siennas and all these teams made it. And how could we forget about 8-man Roseland University Prep, baby? RUP,
Oh,
baby. RUP. They won their first section title. Dewan, the kid, Megan's my man. He they won their first section title too. So, hold on, let me fix my lighting real quick.
Very good.
But yeah. Oh, wait a minute, that's a little too dark. Um, um, but yeah, it's I mean, it's just such a positive year for, I would say, for high school football, and it makes you super excited for next year, about who's coming back. Obviously teams are losing some high caliber seniors, but some high caliber players are coming back.
Yeah,
Hudson Giarita, Sonoma Valley, he's going to be back for his senior season. Hayden Anderson, Windsor, he's going to be back for his senior season. You got the sophomore dynamic duo at St. Vincent we just talked about, Casanovas, Catarelli. They're going to be back for their junior seasons. I mean, the amount of talent that Sonoma County has coming back it seems pretty pretty cool, and Napa County as well. Obviously, the American Canyon. They got Mason Harris coming back. That quarterback. Oh my God, he's going to be fun to watch next year. Um,
And
but yeah,
they're gonna make it throw it a lot more. It's just a lot of talent in this area, man. And I can't wait to see how they evolve and change going into next year. You know what I mean? Like we kind of saw, like, for example, a guy. I'm glad you brought up a guy like Mason Harris. I mean, if you watch him play a lot, I mean, they put him in run a lot. They got a lot of QB draws for him because he's so athletic. You just want to design plays for him. But I think he's gonna come into the year proving he can throw. So if he can show, if he has this chip on his shoulder, like he wants to show he can throw, and he still has that athletic dynamic to him, I mean, it just speaks about how much talent is in this area and how much people are willing to needing to prove kind of going into this next year for themselves.
Yeah, Mason, one of the best baseball players in the area too. So he's an athlete. But I'm pretty sure I'm telling you, the amount of yards Mason Harris picked up with his legs on fourth down has got to be some sort of record, because it was a lot. Every time I saw him, at least he would always pick up fourth downs with his legs.
Oh, me too. They were a 4-down team.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much. I mean, 4th and 4. Who cares? Give it to Mason.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like other teams, Casa Grande, they have their quarterback coming back. They have some great linemen coming back as well, Marco Novoa. So, like you said, man, lots and lots of talent coming back, which is great for the area, and great for our coverage. We love to see the kids have talent and the kids working hard. So, cool. Awesome. All right, let's kind of head on here. Obviously, we're a little bit shorter pod this week. Gus is not here because he's missing out per usual. So let's kind of get into our winter sports action here, our hoops action. Some other stuff, Jordan. I know you were all over the place this weekend. I was in Pasadena. Gus was not. Gus was on vacation this weekend. But lots of hoops happening around the area. Let's go ahead. Start with you. Kind of. What'd you see this weekend?
American Canyon is really, really, really good. They are really good.
Boys.
I know the boys, the American Canyon boys, are really, really good. I saw them in person a couple weeks ago when they took on Franklin at home, and just trying to get a feel for them, just trying to see how they play, and just from talking to their head coach and other people in the program, like you could tell, like, okay, they had this confidence, like they really want to take over the league and be really good. But man, I didn't see what they've been doing lately. I didn't see that coming at all. I mean, Jack Turner is turning up. That guy's lighting it up. They're 7-1. Currently leading the pack in VVal so far through this non-conference play stretch. And they're looking really, really solid. But I got to say, the team that has impressed me the most has got to be Vintage. They're 5-2. They've won 4 in a row. They didn't look too. They played in that Napa high school tournament a couple weeks ago, and they lost in the first round. They didn't look like they completely had their identity yet, but I think they found it. They got a few home games here recently that they were able to kind of play, and they are a defensive juggernaut. They get stops, turn the ball over, and get in transition. I think they're a team, again. This top end of VVal and boys is really kind of shaping up to be Justin, American Canyon. And now Vintage is making themselves part of that conversation of the top, kind of tier teams in that league. So it's just, I really like how competitive the top half of this league is kind of shaping up to be. It's going to be a really, really tight race. But even schools like Napa, for example, I think are kind of figuring it out. Napa, the Napa boys are 2-5 right now, but they have a lot of experienced players who I think, once they get out of the stretch of the non-conference stuff, I think everything's going to start kind of clicking and making sense. I look at guys like, for example, their point guard, Jaden Quintana. He's, was an all tournament selection in their Napa tournament a couple weeks ago as well. He's a senior. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to control the tempo. And they also have really good young players. They have this young sophomore, Will Flynn, 6'9", this kid is skilled, is as skilled as they come for his size. He can pass, makes passes and plays from the high post. He can shoot it. His mechanics are really good. Does he shoot a lot? Do you want him shooting a ton of threes? Probably not. But his talent profile speaks volumes, and I think it makes him a compelling dynamic for their teams. So again, at this point in the season for the boys, it's just kind of a filling out process, trying to see what are the team's identities and how they're using their talents to their strengths. And I'm really excited for what the league play is going to kind of present. But right now, the most impressive team to me right now is Vintage. They're looking to make some noise because again, they don't have no 6'9" guy like Will Flynn on their team or like a Jack Turner who's just gonna like rip 6 threes and go 6 or 8 from 3. But they have a lot of dogs, man. They got a lot of guys that just play hard and play a lot of tough defense. So it's really great to see. And then on the girls' side, American Canyon girls are really, really good as well. They're number 1 in the VVAL. I don't know what they're cooking over there, man, in American Canyon, but it's working on the hoop side, man. It's going good. And they're currently leading the pack in VVAL as well. And I think it's going to be a really, really tight race for the top and on the girls' side as well. But I really see the Wolves kind of separating themselves amongst the pack. I mean, they're dominating, they're scoring, and they're just really, I think, pulling away from the rest. So yeah, that's kind of my sense right now on the hoop scene, at least in the Napa area. A lot of tournaments have been going on. But one thing I do also got to shout out with the girls' side.
Sure.
Justin Siena. They just won the Rebit tournament. Let me pull up the score. I forgot the score exactly. They won the tournament 62-59. Jordan Washington, tournament MVP. She finished with 29 points in that championship game. Lauren Keller, her along Lauren Keller, all tournament selections. They are also a force to be reckoned with in the VVAL as well. I think you got to really pay attention to how that tight race kind of comes down to those two schools. But again, a really, really competitive race up top. And I'm excited for league play, man. I cannot wait for league play. I hate that it's in January. I wish it was I wish it was a little bit closer, man. But hey, it's shaping up to be really, really special.
Yeah. So you mentioned Vintage here. Geez, they open up league play versus Justin Siena on January 3rd.
That is going to be a game.
Is it? How are the Justin Siena boys looking this year? Obviously, they've been a pretty solid, very powerful program last couple of years. But are they looking pretty good?
They're looking phenomenal. So before I get into what's really, really what I really like about them as a team, just something to take note of is, again, when you compare them to a team like American Canyon at this point in the season, American Canyon is just playing more games. They and I talked to their coach, again, when they play Franklin, they're just looking for games, so they're just looking to get more and more opportunities to just test what their team is. Justin, they've played a lot of games too, but not as many. They played I think 3 or 4 less games, and I think they don't have as many non-conference games or non-league games scheduled as a team like American Canyon. So that's something to kind of take note of, because I just think the less reps you kind of get in the non-leagues, the non-league part of the schedule to kind of really test your team, it could show up. It could matter down the line.
Yeah.
But in terms of what I really like about them, they know what they are. They are Jaden Washington centric. That guy, that kid, you know what I mean? I put out a story about him and his sister Jordan, who I mentioned earlier, about them and how they're, they kind of lean on each other to kind of get better, and how they kind of play the same position. This kid is extremely talented. He's 6'5", can do it all. He's a low post player and a high post player. They play through him for everything. But they have a ton of shooters and a ton of playmakers on the outside who also can play off of him very, very well. So yeah, I think they're really, really good, and they are refined. They know what they are. They don't really have a question of whose team is it, whose identity is it. It's the Jaden Washington show. You know what I mean? And then they have a lot of perimeter defenders around who can really make up and cause turnovers as well. So I think they're a really, really good team. I think, again, the only kind of question I have for them is, are they going to have enough reps and opportunities in games before that league play starts against a team like Vintage, who's been battle tested. You know, they're 5-2,
Mhm.
and I think they got 3 or 4 more games remaining on their, their non-league slate before they head into league play. So they gonna have a lot of reps going into that game against Justin. Vintage will. So I think it's something to kind of take note of. But yeah, Justin's going to be really, really good this year, and I expect a lot out of them, and I think they expect a lot out of themselves as well.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So, on the Sonoma County side, obviously, everyone's looking at Montgomery as that team that that is above the rest. I talked to head coach Steve Arrow yesterday. He doesn't agree with that. He was like, I'm kind of sick of everybody saying that because we're not head far and above the rest, man. It's going to be a dogfight every night, and it was last night, man. Let me tell you, Montgomery and Cardinal Newman went absolutely at it. Montgomery ended up winning 47-45. Cardinal Newman coming off a huge win over Petaluma to win the Rose City tournament over the weekend. This young Cardinal team, man, oh boy, you got to watch out. I mean, they are not tall, they are not big, but they are young, they are fast, and they are scrappy. Diego Gonzalez Flores might be one of the most improved players this year. From my first game, watching him, he didn't get a lot of playing time last year because Newman was such a senior heavy team. But now, he's a junior. He's the one of the unquestioned leaders of this Newman team. Freshman AJ Cole, oh man, 5'9" guard. Yeah, he's gonna be special down the road for sure. But for a Cardinal Newman team to take this experienced, tall, lengthy Montgomery team, Newman had the lead the entire game except for the final bucket, which Montgomery get. Big Michael Yule, big 6'8" guy, just got it down in the post, put it up, and got it in the basket to give Montgomery the win. Montgomery, obviously, not at full strength right now. I know they're down a couple guys, but they still have Isaiah Wright. They still have Kienan DeVries. They still have, like I just said, Michael Yule. Yule, I believe is how you pronounce his name. But to that kicked things off in the NBL play at least, and yeah, it was. I mean, if it showed anything, it's that this league race is going to be an absolute blast. I know Montgomery was coming off their tournament win up in Arcata, which is a long ways away, up there. So they've been playing a lot of basketball too. But on the flip side, Windsor, people, I know you've seen Windsor before. I wouldn't say it was an upset, but they did beat Piner, who people would thought would have been up there as well. So yeah, Windsor beat Piner. I know you like the way Windsor plays. So Alec Cobre has his guys working hard, and yeah, that was a huge league win against Piner early on. That should definitely do that. Give the Jaguars some confidence heading as we head further into league play. I think there's like a week or two off with non-league stuff before league play gets back up again. Another team we got to shout out, obviously, St. Vincent, undefeated 10-0, 10-0. They are undefeated on the boys' side. They won the Gary Von Reesfield Memorial Tournament over the weekend. So they are firing on all cylinders. Cardinal Newman girls, they're still going to be at the top, unquestioned top of the heap for local girls basketball. Still heading strong, going strong. But yeah, this should be an interesting hoops scene this year. Considering all the great games we had last year, I think it's just going to translate over into this year. It'll be interesting to see though, like you said about how the VVAL shakes up, because Petaluma is going to be very good again, and yeah, we'll see where things stack up.
Yeah, 100%. And I going back earlier just to that point about, I mean, the amount of non-league games you play. I just think it's so different in VVAL because the league play starts in like, in January. You don't have time unless you're really like in a tournament and you go far in that tournament. You don't really have a lot of opportunities again to just play games, get reps. You know what I'm saying? It really kind of test yourself. So these non-league games really, really matter in terms of building the infrastructure, the foundation of what your team is going to be for the season. So really important games here, in this, kind of end stretch of the year of 2023. And I'm super excited to kind of check them out as we kind of head into league play in the next few weeks.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So yeah, just a little bit of a hoops roundup. Obviously, we'll keep on doing this, especially now as we pretty much just about end our football content. We'll be focusing more on winter sports stuff here in this podcast. Couple things I do want to touch on. Obviously, wrestling is getting going. On the boys' side, Windsor as a team is probably looking like the top group. We do have some individuals this year that are going to be absolutely insane. I think of Logan Bruce leading that pack, returning state qualifier. Not sure exactly what weight he's wrestling at this year, but because I know they changed the weight classes a little bit. But Windsor had a great showing down at the Green and Gold meet held at San Marin over the weekend. They placed first as a team with 167 points. Ukiah right behind them. Ukiah, notorious wrestling powerhouse. They are going to be very good again this year. They're going to have some individuals going far in the postseason. Followed by Ukiah with 162, and then Vintage took third place in the tournament as a team. So Jordan, over in your area, Vintage is looking pretty strong. They had 142 points to take third. Yeah, Windsor as a team, man, they are looking to defend their NBL title. Antonio Garaventa at 106 pounds, he took first place in the tournament. Green and Gold meet. He's looking to go out. I believe he's only a sophomore too, so he's looking to do really well this year. Super improved. Petaluma, Petaluma as well. They had Big Ed Burnsich last year, state qualifier. He came back and he's coming back this year. I think he's going to wrestle at a higher weight class. But Spencer Madsen Castillo took first place in the 113-pound weight class this week. He's only a junior, so he's going to be looking to do big things as well. As a compliment to Burnsich, obviously. I think Burnsich might be going up to heavyweight this year, although we'll see. We'll see how he handles. So yeah, you have the Drew Esquivel dual meets up in Healdsburg this year, this upcoming weekend as well. So winter sports really starting to get going. Obviously soccer as well. Girls soccer is going to be looking pretty interesting. Carl Newman still looks like the strongest team. No doubt about it. Maria Carrillo just beat Vintage 2-0. Maria Carrillo and Cardinal Newman could be a tight league race there in the NBL Oak. Piner beat Roseland University Prep 4-0 over the weekend. Boys soccer, Cardinal Newman is looking really well as well, really good as well. They just beat Sonoma Valley 4-1. Over in your neck of the woods, Jordan Vintage has always been a powerhouse in boys soccer.
I gotta shout out Vintage, man. They lost to Redwood. They lost to Redwood.
Yep.
Yesterday, I believe, or a couple days ago, 6-1. But I went to their game last week against Napa. They pulled that one out, man. 2-1. Physical, man. That was one of the most competitive physical soccer games I've ever been to, man. Those kids were going at it, and I really liked it. At the end of the game, it was all cool, it was all love. But during the game, they really kept it competitive. Really good game. Vintage pulled it out, and they're going to be great this season. And Napa as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that's good because I know you weren't here last year, but last year, it was Sonoma Valley was on the up and up. It was really a two-team race between Casa Grande and Vintage. Casa Grande is still looking to be very good this year over in the V-Val, but Sonoma Valley still on the up and up. They're still a young team. Griffin Brophy is playing really well, but like you said, that Napa team looking like they're much improved from last year as well. Especially taking it to Vintage, who's been a notorious soccer powerhouse. What was the score of that one? You said 2-1. Was that it?
2-1, and Napa had a 1-0 lead going into halftime.
Oh wow! Yeah.
And honestly, they had a lot of opportunities. I mean, I think the goalkeeping play from Vintage was just phenomenal. I mean, stop after they got a lot of stops, but don't sleep on Napa, man. Their offense is fiery. They are trying to attack. They don't play complacent. They are very aggressive, and I really respect that. And they're taking it to everybody, man. They're playing with a chip on their shoulder, and I love to see it. Love to see it for the area.
Yeah, but soccer is pretty unpredictable too. So it makes
Oh man.
makes good for the coverage area as well. Um, Obviously, Healdsburg as well. They made it to the NCS semifinals, I believe, last year. They're looking to do some big things as well this year. So yeah, I mean the winter sports, man. We have a lot of athletes that are gonna that I think are gonna do pretty well this upcoming season. We have our Sonoma County basketball previews out already. If you haven't checked that out, go to pressdemocrat.com/sports/PDPreps. We'll be getting some soccer previews rolling here in the next couple weeks, um, as well as wrestling. And then, hey, Jordan, we're also going to be you, myself, Gus. We're gonna get together. Break out our all empire teams for football and stuff like that, and roll those out in the next couple weeks
Oh,
as well. So wrapping up really wrapping up fall here, and heading straight into winter season, where it's all on the hardwood, on the soccer field, on the wrestling mat. Late 7 p.m. games. Yesterday's game started at 7:30, so it took me a little bit to get used to. um,
I
but
know,
yeah,
man. I feel that.
yeah. So we are yeah, we're in the thick of it now, Jordan, and it should be exciting.
100%, man. I'm super excited. It's a lot going on. Every day it seems like there's something going on at a different time. More scores to track, more things to keep up with. But hey, man, that's what we love, man, about this job. So I'm gonna keep doing it to the best of my ability, and I'm sure you are as well. And Gus.
Absolutely. Yeah, and Gus, except he's not here. So
Except on Tuesday, except on Wednesdays when we got to record a podcast now.
yeah,
My God,
exactly,
that's my guy,
exactly.
man.
No,
He's
no, no, no,
dodging the
no.
smoke. He don't want
He's
the St. Vincent smoke.
dodging the smoke. Dodging the smoke. Um, so yeah,
Oh man.
like I said, shorter
Yeah.
pod today, but so just some wrapping up of St. Vincent, and then wrapping up some winter sports stuff here, and we'll keep doing that. Looks like this podcast I don't think is going to end anytime soon. Now that you're on board, of course, we have a lot more to talk about. Obviously, with Gus being here, the entire winter season, we'll definitely have this podcast up for you. So. Um, yeah, Jordan.
Sure.
Anything else for the good of the order from your end? Anything else you want to talk about, or should we send these people on their way? Also, couple
Oh,
almost Christmas time, man. It's holiday season too, so
it
um,
is. It is. It is, man. But hey, it's Christmas time. Look, hey guys, go spend time with your families. Okay. Go hug your loved ones. You know what I mean? Everyone enjoy these next holidays. But don't get it twisted. It's still sports season, man. We're still gonna be out there on the trails. We're still gonna be out there at the
yep,
basketball courts, at the soccer fields, at the wrestling matches, and we're gonna keep delivering the great content this area deserves, man.
absolutely motivational Jordan Latimore at his best, right there,
Go.
ladies and gentlemen. He's gonna write a motivational book at some point. I'm telling you. Um,
I'm telling you, let's go, man. I'm the prime time. I'm the prime time of this podcast. I'm the Dion
Oh
Sanders.
my gosh, been on the job. Oh, now he's the prime time of this podcast. All right, don't get ahead of yourself, kid. All right,
Oh
folks.
man.
Well, that'll do it for us. For Keenan O'Doherty, Jordan Latimore. Again, make sure you follow us on Twitter. He's at JLatimore7, the number 7. I'm at KO'Doherty22. And if you want to follow Gus too, he's at JustGusPD. You can also follow our main account at PDPreps on Twitter. Like I said, pressdemocrat.com/sports/PDPreps. Lots of content coming your way. We appreciate you guys for listening or watching, listening, however you consume this content. And you know what? We will see you guys next week.
Peace. Appreciate y'all.